Good morning, boys and girls. Miss Robin here with another exciting episode of Earthkeepers Lessons. And today, I got a lot of questions about what happened to Ella, our little woolly bear caterpillar, and some of the other animals that we have. And so we're going to talk about all the other animals that I did take home from the Nature Center and how they're doing. But first I want to talk about Ella, and all of you remember, because almost all of you probably got to hold her in your hands, and Ella was our fuzzy little woolly bear caterpillar that was orange in the middle and two little black fuzzy spots on the ends. And we had her, they come out in the fall, and we had her, Lydia brought her in, thank you Lydia, and we were able to watch her and play with her and feed her until she started to make her cocoon. And remember, Ella was a baby moth caterpillar. So moths make cocoons, and they're different than the butterfly caterpillars, which will make a chrysalis. So Ella made her furry, fuzzy little cocoon for us. And we sort of kept her in that little special jar waiting for her to hatch out of it. And we didn't really get to see her make the cocoon because it was all of a sudden there the next day. But I did find a little video on how woolly bears use their furry bristles to make their cocoon. And that's why it looks the way it does. And that's why it's different than a butterfly's chrysalis. So we're going to play a little video right now, and you'll be able to see how a woolly bear caterpillar makes their cocoon. Wasn't that fascinating? Woolly bears are amazing little caterpillars, and the way they methodically make that little cocoon, it is magical. And part of that magic is what happens inside the cocoon that changes the body of the caterpillar into the beautiful moth that it's going to be. Ella grew into an Isabella tiger moth, which are a whitish color or a golden yellow color, and they're furry, unlike caterpillars. And so the week before we ended school, unfortunately, that's when Ella decided it was time for her to come out of her cocoon. And so you didn't get to see that procedure. But because Ella only is going to live like a week or two, I had to let her go free on a sunny day. So I want to show you now what type of moth she turned into and how she took her first flight into the sunshine. So that's what happened to Ella on our last day that the school was opened. And so she's very happy she was able to fly into the sunshine and enjoy the freedom of flying with the other moths and bugs that were starting to come out, because now it's spring. It's time for all these bugs to be out. And if you've been outside, you notice there's more little bees buzzing around the flowers and all sorts of little bugs for you to see. Now, I also brought home our aquarium over here. And this aquarium has our cherry shrimp, our little neon tetra fish, and our yellow mystery snail. So we're going to take a look at it for a minute so you can see. Here is Goldie, our little golden snail. She's been doing great eating the algae off the sides of the tank. And here's a little cherry shrimp right here. And now remember, they're red, or they can be the, find one. They can also be a clear colors, like the ones that are hidden up here in the plants. Now remember, when we first put those plants in there, they were pretty small. Look how big they're growing. They're providing a really nice home for the little baby shrimp to hide in at night, to sleep, and to also eat any algae that grows on our plants. So they help the plants too. And there's more of our red cherry shrimp that are hiding around behind this and the coral. And we can see our little neon tetras that are over there too. There's our cherry shrimp. And again, you can see their little feet moving around. And that means they are looking for food. They're looking for that green algae that they love to eat. And so they look on the rocks, they look on the pieces of wood that we have on there, and then they eat that algae. We don't really feed the shrimp. The food that we put in there is for our fish. And let's see where the fish are at. And, oh, here they are, of course. Now that's Simba, Nala, and Rafiki. And they've been having fun in their new home. And because it's springtime and a lot of animals think about starting families and having babies, we think, since the way they've been chasing each other, they may be trying to lay eggs somewhere. So we might even have some baby fish. We'll just have to wait and see. But they're enjoying their new place. And I know how much you guys like to change the lights. Oh, there's a shrimp there right next to them. There's one of our more light colored shrimp. All right, boys and girls, I also brought home our hydroponic garden. And look how much it's grown. I know all of you planted those little seed pods in this garden where all the water flows up and around the roots. And we had to make sure, see, the red light is going. It means we have to add the nutrients today. So I have my nutrient pump right here. We have enough water in there. So we're going to put that right in. It's like food for our plants because they're not in the dirt where the nutrients are for them. So we give them that. Now you just look at your plants. Here's some of our lettuce, which is growing so tall here. Now normally in the Nature Center, I would be using gloves. I'm not today because you guys are not eating this. That is about 10 inches. Wow! So we are going to put that up here. That's our biggest grower so far. And our basil, which took a while to get going, but oh my word, it is all the way up to 12. I cannot move this any higher, so I'm always cutting it. So that basil is 12. And our Mizuna is definitely growing too. Look at that, 11. That's awesome. And our arugula, which I know a lot of you really enjoyed eating, is getting up there too. All the way up to 11. Okay, and our dill, this is the dill. I know it wasn't this big at all when we left, but look at it now. It's way up to 12 too, boys and girls. Some of you did get to try the dill. That's sometimes what we make dill pickles out of. So that's up to 12 too. And we have our mint. And our mint probably took the longest time to grow, but it is growing. And it is all the way up to 5 now. So we've got that right here. So all our things are growing really, really well. Let's see, the Paris Island one is also growing all the way to 8.5. So we're gonna do that right here, 8.5. And that's our AeroGrow. It's growing really well. Now you might be asking me, Miss Robin, what are you doing with all the extra basil since we're not eating it? Well, I've been eating it, and I decided to make some bread with lots of herbs and spices from our plants. And so this is my bread that I made, homemade bread, which was delicious, with a lot of the herbs chopped up, so we could have a very nice, buttery, yummy bread with our pastas and spaghetti sauces and yummy foods. So that's one thing you can do with your herbs too, other than just have them in salads. Now we're going to go over here to the microgreens. One of the things that I discovered as we're staying inside so much is sometimes the stores don't have a lot of fresh things. So I started to buy these, moms and dads. I did get this at Fresh Time. And it was a little microgreen packet. I put all the seeds down and watered it. And each day, you can see, tells you how much water to spray or to put on, and they grow. And they also went in the bread and on my salads and all sorts of yummy omelets and things. So that's another really good way of using our plants and vegetables to stay healthy. One of the important things we have to do with so many people being sick is to make sure our bodies are healthy. Eat good foods like things you grow yourself. Now we're going to come over here and say hi to Splashy and Rosie. I took the little diver, the periscope diver that you guys usually look at, that's up here, out, to give them more room to swim around since you're not here with me. And I know this is one of your favorite things to do, is to get some of the food and watch Rosie and Splashy eat. Here they go. Seems like they're always hungry, but you can see they're doing really well, boys and girls. They like being up here. And maybe some of you even remember when we planted the little seed, this water plant right here, we planted from a seed. And it is growing really well. It likes being here near the AeroGrow hydroponic garden because it's started to really grow well. Now we're going to go over here toward Hoppy and Ribbit. All right, so Hoppy and Ribbit are still in our nice little aquarium, but as I started telling you, let me see where Hoppy is. He's probably under here. There he is. Oops, what you doing, Hoppy? Here's Hoppy. There you are, sweetie. There's Hoppy. Now, Hoppy's grown so big. We've had him for about 2 years, and he is a good-sized male frog. And male frogs, when they're this age, really like to jump and play with other green frogs and maybe think about starting their own families. So, boys and girls, we might want to think of, I know sometimes we feel closed in when we're in our homes and we can't go out as much as we used to. Hoppy's been sort of that way for 2 whole years, and I think it might be time for him to go back to the pond so he can be with other friends, other green frogs that are grown big like him, and he can jump far and play and start a family. So I'm going to leave it up to you. We still have Ribbit in here, who is still our tadpole. He's little, so we'll be definitely keeping him. Let's see where he went. Oh, he's under the bridge. And he's right there. And he might be, just washing my hand. We'll keep him because he's little yet and he's still got to turn into a frog. But I want you to think about if it's time to let Hoppy go back into the pond. And if you would like him to have a little more freedom to play with friends and start a family, then you just let me know by your comments, And you can tell me, yes, I think Hoppy should go back to the pond. And if I get enough votes that say, yes, Hoppy should go back to the pond, then I'll take you with me and we'll let him go in the pond, and I'll show you that whole procedure, him going back into the pond right near where I found him as a little tadpole. So just let me know what you think. Do you think it's time for Hoppy to leave his little quarantine box and go out into the big pond and be with his friends and make a family of his own? Then just let me know, and one of our episodes will be At the Pond with Hoppy. And we'll always have Ribbit, and Ribbit will grow into a frog too. And if I find another tadpole at the pond, I will try to bring that home so you can see the whole process again.